about to watch me read Bride by ALI HAZELWOOD. Honestly, I think I had pretty high expectations for this book just because of how like popular ALI HAZELWOOD is, and just like my understanding of like what the book's about, it sounds like it's gonna be really, really good. And I also really hope that it's really good just because I feel like I'm falling into a reading slump. The past 2 books I read I didn't really enjoy, so I'm really hoping that this one will be at least a 4-star read, because I had a 2-star and then there was a 3-star, but before that was a 5-star. So I'm really hoping that this will be at least a 4-star. So from my understanding, Bride is about 2 main characters, a vampire and a werewolf, and they're mortal enemies pretty much. Like vampires and werewolves, they just don't get along. And so our main character, the vampire woman, she ends up forming this kind of like alliance, arranged marriage with this werewolf. And so these characters, they get married. I think it's mostly due to the alliance, but in the back here, it says that the vampire woman, Misery, that's not what she's looking for. She doesn't care about the alliance or politics. She has something else that she wants. So I'm not entirely sure, like maybe they were secret lovers or something before. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And I hear that it's really spicy, and I hear that it's really funny, and like it's really just like a regular romance story, but like make it paranormal. And I'm like, yes please. If every day could be Halloween for me, I would be super happy. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack this book open. So I'm more than 100 pages into Bride, and here are my thoughts so far. I am having a hoot with this book. This is so much fun. I've never read anything from ALI HAZELWOOD. I know that she's very well known for her romance novels, and I know this is her first fantasy romance, and I'm loving it so much. It's so much fun, and like there are some moments where it's just so out of pocket, the jokes and kind of like the dialogue, that I've laughed out loud a couple of times just because it's so funny and so great. I also really like the world that they're in, because it's like the human world, like modern world. There's like phones and stuff and humans, but there's also like wares, werewolves, and vampires, which are like vampires, and they are kind of like they don't like each other. No one really likes each other, but there's like this person who's like a collateral. And so for the humans and the vampires, basically a vampire is traded for a human, kind of like changelings are with like fairies and stuff. And they just have to live with humans for like 18 years, and same, the human has to live with a vampire for 18 years. And our main character, Vampyre, was traded to be like someone who grows up with the humans, and she's like the daughter of like a very powerful like council member man, and so she pretty much has nobody. And so that's where her best friend kind of gets brought into this. And so she ends up, there's like this foster child who ends up kind of being brought into her world, and they grow up together basically as sisters. And then she disappears one day, and her friend Misery, our main character, doesn't know what happened. So she's basically trying to investigate like what happened and what the connection is with the werewolf. And that's why she agrees to marry the werewolf. Like he's trying to like solidify their alliance and stuff, so like werewolves and vampires can finally get along. And she agrees because he has something to do with the disappearance of her best friend slash sister. And it's just so much fun, like this character being brought into this unfamiliar world. We're learning about the world. There's some just really funny moments where she doesn't understand humans. She also doesn't understand vampires. And so just the way that she describes things and sees things, I think is so clever. And it's honestly, it's a great time. I'm having a great time with this. I think I'll have to read more ALI HAZELWOOD books if this book continues to be as good as it is right now. So yeah, that's my little update for you right now. I will update you when I get to about the halfway mark. So I will see you then. More than halfway through ALI HAZELWOOD's Bride, and this book, it has my heart just like eek. The writing of this book is so good, and then like all the characters and learning about the world and like the tension, and then also knowing the whole like one character knows but the other character doesn't in terms of like all that. I don't want to spoil it, but it's so good. And I love all the interactions and like the slow trust with all the characters and the situations they get themselves in, the tension, the obvious like pining for each other, but like also like I can't because we're like mortal enemies, like this is a fake marriage kind of thing, but it's like Also, I have laughed out loud so many times reading this book. I've also squealed just because of like how adorable some of the scenes are, and just like some really cute tender moments with the characters, and just this is just it's so good. And like it's one of those things where like it's like a vampire werewolf romance that also takes place in the modern world, but it's like oddly really good. And again, I think it's because like the main criteria in my opinion for book enjoyment is if it's written well and if I care about the characters, and I do care about these characters, and I really like just both of the characters in general. I really like how strong Misery is. Misery herself, I really like how strong and brave she is, but also how like gentle and caring she is, and she's super selfless. And then Lowe, our beautiful werewolf man, is like, he's the alpha, but he's also so gentle and kind, and he's really just sacrificed everything. And it's just like, they both sacrifice so much and they deserve each other so much. As you can tell, I'm thoroughly enjoying this book. So yeah, I'm going to continue to read, and I will update you probably when I finish this book, because I am more than halfway at this point. And so yeah, I'll see you then. Last night I finished ALI HAZELWOOD's Bride, and I loved this book so much. It even surprised me in a lot of moments of stuff I just didn't expect to happen, but like makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, you know what? This is actually really good. I love when books surprise me. Like, I don't mind if they're predictable. Again, I'm an avid romance reader. I love that romance formula, but this one really did surprise me in so many great ways, and I just had such a great time, especially because like I feel like I was starting to fall into a reading slump, because the books I've been reading, at least the past 2 books, I was just like, I'm not enjoying these, and I'm like, no. But this book has definitely got me out of my reading slump, and I'm so happy that I read it. And I bet there's going to be a sequel because of the way that it ended. There's going to be a sequel. I doubt it's going to be about these 2, but some other characters who were kind of in the book. I imagine that there's going to be not really I guess kind of a sequel in a way, but it's like within the same universe with the different characters, and you get to learn about them and you get to see their romance, and like, what's that gonna look like? I love that. I'm just, yes. I also really like that you don't ever find out the fate of one of the characters, because the main character doesn't want to know. And then so you as the reader, you don't ever find out what happened. You just get to like make it up, which I think is so much fun. I feel like I haven't really seen anything like that, where it's like up to the reader to decide what happened to these characters or to that character. And I just thought it was really clever, because everybody's gonna have their own like idea of what happened. And honestly, I think it's genius. I am 100% going to have to get more ALI HAZELWOOD books. I know this is her only fantasy one. I'm predicting there's gonna be a second one coming out, but I'm gonna have to go out and read all of her other books, because this was written super well. The characters were so great. The world was great. The introduction of everything, just getting you into the setting, was so good, and it didn't feel like it was dragging on. It didn't feel like you're gonna fall asleep. It didn't feel like it was telling you more than showing you. Like, you really got immersed into this world, and I just had such a great time with this book. So I'm very excited, because I will be awarding Bride a total of 5 stars. I'm so happy. It feels so good when you read a 5-star read. So like the previous 5-star read I just finished was A Funny Story. Hands down, beautiful, amazing, incredible, out of this world. And so this is another 5-star read, and those are so hard to come by. And I'm just like, yes, I'm so happy. It honestly, it deserves it. I devoured this book. I couldn't stop thinking about this book. It's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to read this book, and then I had like a bunch of stuff that came up and I was like, I just want to read. And that's the kind of book that it was. Whereas the other 2 books that I read before, I didn't really care if stuff came up. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just like read later. But this one, I'm like, no, I need to rearrange my plans because I need to finish Bride. So yeah, I even put off watching the new season of Bridgerton, which I've been counting down the days for because I want to finish Bride. So now that I finished that, I gotta catch up on Bridgerton. But yeah, that's exciting. So it's finally time for me to be reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. This is the last book currently available for the Stormlight Archive series. It's like book number 4, and there's gonna be like 10 of them in total. And I've been putting this one off because I don't want the series to end. And the next book comes out in December, and that's a long ways away. But yeah, after reading a 5-star read, I think only Brandon Sanderson can compare in the level of just like amazingness, whereas every other book I feel like is gonna dull in comparison after a 5-star read. So this is my new trick. My other trick was I was like, oh yeah, like I'll read a book of like an author I really like, but then that book didn't end up turning out being that amazing, unfortunately. But Brandon Sanderson, I've heard a lot of really great things about Rhythm of War as well. A couple of my subscribers have talked about how this is their favorite book, so I'm really excited. So yeah, that's what'll be read next. If you're interested in watching me read Rhythm of War, Ali Hazelwood, Emily Henry, so many other books that are now just continuing to pile on top of this TBR of mine, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video and if you think that plop looks really cute just sitting there in the background, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!